It's daybreak on the Rise News, and it's time for the press preview. We'll first look at our sister publication, this day newspapers. Let's see what it has on its front page. To beat INEC's deadline, Tinubu quietly submits forms, includes placeholder as running mate. I don't understand that. Maybe that has to be explained by Emmanuel when he comes. It has about 3 riders. PDP screens vice presidential nominees today. Parties NWC, that's National Working Committee, meets over committee's recommendations on naming on running mate. Atiku speaks on how to free up funds for social investments. And then you see that picture, below that picture, below that picture you have PDP storms Ekiti today for campaign as INEC lectures voters on imperative of peace. And then just below the logo, federal government, we're studying Malabu old deal court judgment. It has one rider. Adoke, court verdict vindicates me yet again. And then just above the mast, with $64 billion total assets, NNPC targets 2026 to achieve Nigeria's energy sufficiency. And then there's something on the TCN. I can't quite, okay. As Nigeria grapples with blackouts, World Bank says $100 billion needed to solve erratic power supply. Has one right there, but let's go to the next paper.
The Guardian newspaper this morning, leading with the story, says VP APC still consulting as PDP screens Wike today. Let's take some of the riders. Ganduje Masari El Rufai on the list amid Muslim consideration. Northwest favored due to block votes. And Odju Zokalo justifies APC's Muslim ticket. Let's take more headlines here. Economy heads for collapse as Nigerians pay 876.6 billion naira for darkness. That story is on page 6. Now also the WHO issues advisory on vaccines for monkeypox. If you want to know more about that, that's on page 4 on The Guardian.
The Punch newspaper is leading with Wike Okowa face panel today. Camps fight over Atiku's vice presidential slot. Who's going to get it? Ekiti governorship candidates sign peace accord. NSCDC deploys over that's 9,000, more than 9,000 personnel. Extend voter registration deadline. Reps urge INEC. Buhari OK's TCN unbundling. NERC orders 5,000 megawatts delivery by July the 1st.
All right, the Nation newspaper. Last minute intrigues in PDP over Atiku's running mate. Ikimi, that's the chairman of the panel to screen Wike. Well, some papers just say Wike. Some of the papers say Okowa and Wike. There's also Udom there. Anxiety among party chiefs over choice. And then on the top mast, you see aviation fuel hits 714 naira per litre as petrol queues return. Oyo Assembly slams misconduct charges against Deputy Governor. PDP others shun Ekiti Peace Pact signing. NBS puts inflation rate at 17.71%. And then just what you see, the Minister of Information's picture, issues in varsity union strike complicated, says Minister. One rider government ASU talks still ongoing.
Let's take a look at some international papers this morning. Financial Times, 3/4 point rate rise as Fed steps up inflation fight. Now, this is the first increase of its kind since 1994 as the ECB seeks to head off debt concerns. Also, just below that, Johnson's ethics watchdog quits after busy year guarding standards at number 10.
And this is the Daily Express. Furious pretty attack secrecy of Euro courts.
Right, Independent. It felt like I was going to be executed The men on board the failed Rwanda deportation flight tell their stories. That's what that's about.
Well, for the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello, who joins us from our offside studio this morning. Emmanuel, good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at this day newspaper. And the headline, it says, to beat INEC's deadline, Tinubu quietly submits forms, includes, in quotes, their placeholder as running mate. Now, this decision to include a placeholder, meaning maybe when the time comes for that substitution window, he can substitute for another name. Do you think it comes from this controversy of the Muslim ticket that everyone has been talking about, in the sense that if they put a name now, maybe they want to test the waters, APC wants to test the waters and sees how the Nigerian citizens will react to that ticket, and maybe then substitute a name when that substitution window comes up next month, I think, Emmanuel.
Nkechi, welcome back. Good morning. Indy, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. Yes, those are some of the consideration going into all of that. Some of it is just pure procedure, you know. They need to beat deadline, so you say a placeholder without a name there, because according to the story itself, Tinubu is, or the APC is really divided along those lines. Some favoring that, yes, he should pick a candidate from the Muslim North. And people continue to talk about the Muslim controversy. I have a different take on all of this. You know, there are too many people and too many conversation around Muslim ticket, whether it should be a Muslim Christian ticket. We've seen all sorts of tickets in the past. Of course, there was a time where, you know, in the history of this country, that a Muslim ticket didn't cause all the kind of, you know, the kind of talk that you're having around here during the Abiola era. But after that, basically what we've had has been, you know, Christian Muslim or Muslim Christian ticket. I think we're dancing around this issue for too long. You have people, you know, big names either supporting it or not supporting it. And I can understand all the emotions around it, because of course now maybe more than ever before, the issue of religion has become such a strong, you know, issue going into this election. Religion is on the, you know, it has become a campaign issue, or even on the ballots, because of all that has been happening, the banditries, the killing, the war massacre. All that has played into this presidential election in a very, very big way. That is making this ticket. Beyond that, it's I think what we should be talking about is the competence of those tickets, what they can do. But sadly, the issue has, you know, now revolve around the coloration of the ticket and how it looks like. And you can also understand that, because it's not just what I've just said now, it's more than that. Of course, the parties too are playing around that, because it will mean votes. And many of them, the political parties, are talking about tickets that can get them votes, and not tickets that just reflect the color or the texture or the tenor of the country. They want tickets that win elections for them. And for the APC, they think that, look, now that they have a southern candidate who is also a Muslim, they will need to balance that very effectively with a Muslim candidate, so that they can, you know, bite or eat into that huge, you know, electoral-based votes of the North. But of course, the Christians in the Middle Belt, and there are many of those, you know, around the North, who are saying that, look, if you do that, you are going to be taking us out of the equation, and it's going to offend not just the Christians of the North, but probably Christians in the South, who would think that, look, okay, fine, in a country that is already this, you know, densely divided along those fault lines, why should we now talk about a Muslim ticket? So for the APC, and certainly for the candidate, it's actually a trying moment for them to really think through. The PDP is not spared that too, because they have to find a way of balancing yet another northern president with a southern candidate. The PDP probably doesn't have too much troubles around that, considering that it's already thinking of what it calls what we call a Muslim Christian ticket. But it's for Tinubu now to really worry about how that is going to play out at the end of the day. And it's going to be interesting to watch how they go about it.
Yeah, Emmanuel, I mean, this is becoming indeed an issue because right before me is a statement from the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, a two-page, carefully worded letter towards 2023 elections, advancing the path to unity and peace. And it's in the letter, if you go through it, it's urging the parties to not go that route of Muslim ticket or Christian ticket. The director's been whispering in my ear, we're talking Christian Muslim. We do know that there's so many Nigerians who are not either Christian or Muslim. Some people are traditionalists, some people are atheists, some people don't believe in anything. Where does this leave these people? And what are your comments on this worded from the Catholic Church in Nigeria?
Well, yeah, like, Kenneth, it's all part of the various angles to this thing. Like I say, some people say that, look, we're dancing around it. So some people are even worried about the quality of the ticket. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about what this ticket can do. In the past, we've had Christian Muslim tickets. What has those tickets done in the past? I think there's the third force, thinking that, look, we must think outside that. We must think about, like you say, what about the other people? And there are quite a number of them who never subscribe to whether they're Muslims or whether they're Christians. They are different people. Of course, broadly speaking, Nigeria is made up of both just Muslims and Christians. But as it is now, the argument is, gaining grounds, and a lot of people are talking about it. But I think, Kenneth, straight to your point, there are people who are also now saying that, look, let's not lose the main plot, the idea of these tickets. Yes, it's important because these parties are actually thinking of winning elections. They are thinking of getting votes. They are not really thinking of the morality side of it or even the spirituality of it altogether. They are just thinking of how what tickets will get them the votes and win elections. And we're not in a theocracy, like we say, it's a democracy. But sadly, it's third world politics, it's Nigerian politics, and it's always tinged with this issue of religion. People wanted to see that they are reflected and not to ask the real question that, okay, fine. So if we have somebody who is from our religion on the ticket, how does that better our lot? Osibanjo has been vice president and is Christian to a Muslim president. Can Christian really say that they fared better in this last administration? But some people will say, look, that's actually talking to the point that, look, you really actually need this balancing act, even if it is for the optics of it. But there are people, Kenneth, who are actually arguing, like you just say, that, look, let's talk about the quality of candidates, the quality of ticket beyond just the color or the coloration of it. Balancing is okay, but being effective will be better. And for the parties, they are not listening to any of that. They are more interested in winning elections, and if they'll have to go and get an animist, a herbalist, a native doctor, whatever person they need to go and get them the votes, they will do that. It's the parties will not say, okay, just for the sake of balancing, just for the sake of the color of the country, reflecting the color of the various shades of the country, will take those chances and then lose elections. So for Tinubu, for instance, the idea of a Muslim northerner is such that is one that, as far as is concerned, will get them the necessary votes to win election. Remember that Atiku is actually also thinking of a Christian southerner, so that he could balance the fact that he is also, carrying the burden of being a northerner, one, and two, a Muslim. So he needs to balance that with, getting the Christian vote. Tinubu thinks he's got the South already in because, of course, he answers the agitation for a southern president. So he will need to also find a way of balancing that with not alienating the Muslim North. So that is what is going into a lot of this consideration. Just pure arithmetic, just pure calculations on how to win elections. Of course, all the other faith groups are concerned about also how they are reflected in the view. But Kenneth, like you say, there are those who don't really care. They just want to look for better ticket, great combination that will move this country forward and get us a better deal.
Okay. Let's just briefly talk about this. We've dealt so much on that. PDP orders Sean Ekiti Peace Pact signing. That's Ekiti governorship election coming up on Saturday. I want to ask you, why would PDP and others do that?
Well, because I think Ekiti is going to be like litmus test to the presidential candidates and their powers. Yesterday, in we were already discussing that everybody was knocking Peter Obi for not going to any rallies in Ekiti, and rather heading to Egypt to learn. Is it Egyptology now, or what is going to learn in Egypt? So Ekiti has become the battleground. It's become the testing ground, the lab where these freshly minted candidates will test their popularity, test how far they're able to rally their base and win elections. So some people think that it's actually a preview of the general election and how the parties will perform. And that's why you saw the kind of entourage of the APC, Bola Tinubu, leading that charge yesterday in Ekiti. And then today, of course, those 80 members of the PDP going there. I think the peace panel led by the former head of state is one that's trying to, preach peace and say, I like what you say. You say, cast your vote, but stay alive. So I think it's something that should be supported by all the political parties.
Of Ekiti. I'm sure you heard that that Babiodo is now the LA of Ekiti. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Quite interesting.